There's more support on the way for some of the communities in New South Wales hardest hit by the flooding disaster. But for those who've missed out, there's simmering anger over the government's response at both state and federal level. A national emergency has been declared, and after visiting Lismore in northern New South Wales, the Prime Minister is heading to Queensland to assess the damage. Many remain frustrated over the extent of the emergency and official response, with many residents stepping in to save the lives of their stranded friends and family, and again to help in the clean-up. The government has defended its response.
We're doing everything that we possibly can to support those communities. When it comes to the Defence Force personnel, I know that there was a request could we get more Defence Force personnel on the ground sooner? What we tried to do is get as many as we could, as quickly as we could. And that has now seen more than 4,000 Australian Defence Force personnel on the ground helping those communities in need.
And the rain has eased around Sydney, but tens of thousands of people remain subject to evacuation orders across the state. Significant flooding in the lower Hunter area and parts of Sydney still has some communities isolated, and residents face a long wait.
People still aren't able to get back into their communities or into their homes to see what that damage is, because that flooding is still quite significant in those particular areas. We don't envisage that flood water will recede anytime soon over the next 24 hours. So they're likely to still be outside of their homes and their communities for that period of time.
And Chris Cherry is the Mayor of the Tweed Shire, so that's up close to the Queensland border. It's one of the flood-affected regions in northern New South Wales which isn't eligible for the extra disaster payments for now that the Prime Minister announced yesterday. And she joins us now from Murwillumbah. Chris Cherry, welcome. Great to see you again. So first of all, where are things at now in the Tweed Shire in terms of the flood and flood recovery? What are the worst affected areas and how many homes were inundated there?
So we think we've probably had around 6,500 homes across the Shire that have been inundated. We've got probably about 11 areas that are still isolated and having to have food and water brought into them on foot. And it's quite a desperate situation that we have experienced. Obviously, we've got hundreds and hundreds of people that are displaced from their homes at the moment and are staying with friends and family or in organised accommodation through the evacuation centres.
And what about businesses? Were businesses affected pretty badly in your shire too?
Oh, absolutely. Murwillumbah, businesses right across our villages, but particularly Murwillumbah has been incredibly hard hit. And, some of those businesses are finding it very hard to keep on going. But, there's a fantastic resilient spirit out here. I know that if COVID was the disaster that, really tore our community apart, this flood has really brought us back together.
Okay, so what's the official response been like? You're a local government representative. What were the strong points and where have the shortfalls been when you look at not only the local government response but also state and federal?
Look, I think we are so much further ahead than we were after 2017. We have had, those quick announcements of the funding for people to be able to get $1,000 straight up, and of the grants for the businesses, of the state government announcing they're going to pay for the waste removal and things like that. So that's been incredibly fast off the ground. And I think, it's just the scale of the devastation. It's so hard to actually work through it all. And certainly things that we could do better. Telecommunications is something we need to work out for those evacuation centres in particular, because people need that point of contact.
Now, what did you make of the Prime Minister's announcement yesterday where some shires got this extra support and others didn't, including yours?
Look, when you're standing there in the sludge and smelling the smells and feeling that devastation, it's very, very hard to see an announcement like this for our community. And I certainly don't accept it. And I don't, when I look at it, I am sure that basically here in the Tweed, because the flooding was so bad, because the roads were cut so much, a lot of the assessments have not even been completed yet. So I believe that as we go through and send those assessments in, I'm sure that the Prime Minister's office will realise that our the devastation here, the catastrophe that we have endured is very much on the same scale as those other shires, and I'm sure that we will also qualify for those other payments.
So you do still hold out hope that Tweed residents will get access to that extra support, and have you already made contact with the Prime Minister's office to put your case?
No, I've been busy with the State Education Minister all morning this morning, so I have not talked to the Prime Minister's office, but we will certainly be making those representations and through Resilience New South Wales really get that message home that, I am hopeful. I am sure that nobody could look at the devastation that we have endured here and think that we wouldn't qualify.